Hello everybody, welcome back to the cabin. Welcome back to Commonwealth. Flipper, hope you're doing well out there. We've got some sales. I don't know, they've slowed down a little bit, I guess. They're still good. 9 sales yesterday, 10 sales today. And we're going to start knocking some of those out. Some of those I've got to get out of here. I've been doing some other stuff. We've been doing exactly like I said a few videos ago. It's like complete clean out mode, clear out mode. We're trying to get ready for the end of February because March we're going to start hitting the yard sales trails pretty hot and heavy, and we're going to hopefully get volume in here and get things moving really quickly this year. I've got some, like I said, ambitious goals for the year, and I want to kind of get things set to go. But my wife and daughter have been away for the last couple of days, and Turner's, you know, he's about as chill as any little guy can be. And so we've been doing some baseball stuff and going to practices and stuff like that. But I've also had a lot of time to just work because my wife normally tells me, all right, stop. You know, watch a show with me, do something. And so I stopped working, but she hadn't been here. So I work like half the night and keep going. And today I've been out in the other cabin out there, the other shed, the death pile. What did Mike want me to call it? The death pile den out there. And I've been going through media because media just seems to stack up for me. And I'm like, all right, we're going through. Found some really good cassettes, by the way. I'm pretty excited about it. But putting things in lots, getting things ready for auctions, auctions on eBay, auctions on Dibdit, live auctions, maybe whatnots, all kinds of stuff. We're clearing stuff out of here. And it's been really, really good for me. But I've also had some time while I'm working to watch content, creators. And some of it gets me down a little bit, and some of it really inspires me. I also had a chance to clear out some of my emails, and some of the messages I got were also pretty inspiring. And then there's some that are quite a bit different, like this title shows you today. I want to talk about that and some things that I don't normally talk about, but I'm going to give it my best today. But we got some cool items. Let's go take a look. Here's a surefire way you know that the girls are gone, because you're in here early today. Sit. Good boy. Speaking of those emails, thank y'all for sending them. I can't get back to everything, and I certainly have. Instagram is just like done at this point. Seems like it is absolutely impossible to keep up. So my apologies if I haven't gotten back to you. I did get back to quite a few people. This is a DeMarini bat that is a really, really good DeMarini bat, but it has some issues. Unfortunately, as you can see, tons of spike marks and stuff. So I put it out there and it didn't quite sell. I'm like, well, this one's going to go on our 30% off deal because as you can see, we're running out of space up here in our long areas, there and there. And so that's part of the strategy to get rid of stuff. And so I put it out there at 30% off, and it sold $111 and change plus shipping. Another large item headed out of here, and this one we just listed, and we listed it pretty low, at least in my opinion. It could have gone a little higher. It is a Napa. Where's the Napa symbol on this one? I swear it had one. There it is right there. Cassette holder. I've got one back there. You can see that one. I don't think I have one over there. But I love these things. I picked this one up at the flea market. And we're trying, like I said, got some ambitious goals for this year. And part of it includes moving out a bunch of stuff before the end of February, before garage sale season hits. We sold this one for $64.95 plus shipping. By the way, this is the perfect time of year to find a box for this over there at the dump, because at Christmas, a lot of people got TVs, and the TV boxes end up in the giant cardboard recycling thing over there, which is covered, which is good because it's raining. I don't want to go over there right now, but I might have to, because I don't think I have the right size box for that one unless I create it. But they're not that hard to ship, for sure. A little cardboard over the top. After you get some bubble wrap in there, throw it in a TV box, and you should be good to go. But getting into the topic just a little bit, and it'll be throughout the whole video, because I think I've got a few things that I want to say, and I want to get some feedback from y'all and some inspirational stories, because that's what I got quite a few of. But let's start with the negative stuff first. So I was watching, while I was out there working today, I was watching a video, and then I decided I would look down in the comments on my phone. I was watching it on the TV out there in the other building while I was working. And boy, I was reading stuff. And it was a reseller doing some picking content, and they were just absolutely shredding this person up and down in almost every comment. I couldn't quite grasp it. Then one of them got to me a little bit, and it's the title of this video: why would anybody want to sell on eBay? And Then another person commented underneath it, and their line was kind of piggybacking on the other one, but went a completely different story. And those are the two things I want to talk about. And then I want to get into some examples of why I think it's amazing to sell on eBay, not just eBay, but other platforms as well. Had a viewer buy two things, and they don't exactly relate, but I'm still happy to sell them. This one, couldn't pass up. This one's pretty cool. It actually had quite a few watchers. I was a little shocked. But this old, like, pilgrim-style apron right here, that one's sold. I don't have a number for that one. The total sale between the two things is $64.95. Obviously, this didn't go for that, so I'll have to find that for you. All right, that one sold for $15 plus shipping, but there's one more item. I'll show that to you in a second. This apron brings back fond memories of my grandmother cooking Sunday lunch. Still in her church clothes with her half apron tied around her waist. I always wondered why she didn't get out of those nice clothes first. The toaster, well, I need a toaster. The other item's a toaster. Jill, P.S. Love the podcast. Oh, jeez. It's quite entertaining. Thank you, Jill. We appreciate it. Let me go get your toaster. Here is the toaster, Jill. This one is a Toastmaster wide slot toaster, and I saw this one in the kind of the back room of a sale. It was at the 100 Mile Yard Sale in the fall, which isn't particularly good. Well, spring's not particularly good either, but, you know, around here it's something, right? So I'm pretty happy now. This guy had pulled a bunch of stuff out of this old building, and I said, can I go back in that building? He's like, well, I don't really want to dig for anything. You know, I'm going to pull it out. You can come back tomorrow. I said, can I just peek in and see if there's anything? And he said, sure. So I went in and I peeked in, and I saw this toaster sitting pretty much on top of a stack of stuff. And it had tape on it. I'm like, man, that thing might be new. And so I asked him, and he let me crawl back there and get it. And I paid him, I don't know what I paid him, $5 or something for it. And it turned out to be, I believe, it is a new in an open box. Pretty good condition one. And that one sold for $49.95 plus shipping. So the rest of this comment started to break down, you know, $100,000 in gross income, and how in reality, you're probably not making more than just a few dollars an hour, minimum wage, if you're doing this at all. And they came up with this crazy number that they were making like, I don't know, $12,000, $14,000 a year if you sell $100,000 gross or something. And I'm like, that's crazy. I suppose it's possible to do that bad, but that's not the likely kind of number for doing the kind of things that we do. And then the other person piggybacks on, it's like, eBay is this and eBay is that, and this is awful and this is terrible, and why would anybody sell on that platform, and you don't make any money, and it's a ripoff. It just keeps going down the line of how amazingly terrible all this stuff is. And I started contrasting that with the messages that I read the other day, and I thought, you know what? This is craziness. And there are a ton of people out there, thank goodness that everybody in the world doesn't sell on eBay. It'd make our job a little bit harder. But there are so many folks out there that don't even realize the possibilities and the good things that can come from being a reseller. And a lot of us know it, and I want to hear some of your stories, but I'm going to go over a couple here. And while there are some negative things with eBay and other reselling platforms for sure, I don't want to ignore those. There are so many positives why this game is only getting better and better. And the naysayers out there really have issues of their own, and we shouldn't let them get us down. So this phone right here, it's probably, we sold it for $25 plus shipping. It's probably a $40 phone for this particular model. And we just decided we're going to get some of this stuff that we're just listing, getting in here. We're going to get it out really quick and kind of match the model of the stuff that's been around. But I do kind of regret putting it out there quite that cheap. But you know what? It sold. We made money. Paid $5. Sold for $25 plus shipping. We've talked about eBay, and you know, fees have gone up. So you know, actually, the fees on eBay itself hasn't really gone up in a little while, but over time it's gone up. And then the push for promoted listings and how they treat sellers. You know, it's not like the good old days, and how buyers are always treated better and all that stuff. And you know, that's definitely debatable. I don't think it's really that much different than it used to be, but you know, that in coupling that with the fact that shipping prices are going up and all these different things, I can understand the sentiment from some folks. But I don't even think this person was a reseller. To be honest with you, I think they're just kind of jealous that other people, that resellers, have put at least a tiny portion of their lives in their own hands. They're not dependent, even if you have a job with somebody else where you're dependent on getting that next raise, or, you know, dependent on that business succeeding for your success, at least for resellers and for reselling. You can put a little bit of your own destiny in your own hands. And I think that is a massive psychological benefit for a lot of people, especially certain people in certain professions. And it just gives you something to look forward to. I know me as a teacher, this was my haven. This is where I could control everything that I did, and I could make those ends meet. Because I know if I needed money, you know, I could go through stories. I'm not going to bore you with them, but I mean, we had a hard time just paying our bills off. Well, I'll tell you a little bit of something. Let me pull this quick sale. This is a Dibdit sale. And I did put these over there a little bit cheaper than I put them on eBay, because I pay less fees over there. So there you go. $5 plus shipping for this one. And Kelly bought it. Kelly, I don't know who you are, but I appreciate you very much for purchasing that over on Dibdit. I think you use the magic comment feature on Instagram. I think the dibs. Put dibs in the comment, it sends you the invoice. So Kelly, thank you. I know this is the kind of story that a lot of people have out there, and this is why it is so worth it. Even when there are ups and downs on eBay, even when there are things you disagree with, or on whatever selling platform you're on, this is, to me, why I still think it's the best place to sell. Reselling is still an amazing thing to do as a side hustle, as more than a side hustle. It's because there were times where, I don't know if you know this about me, but I am just like adverse. I just will not use credit cards, no matter what, because to me it was a bit of a crutch. And I'm not judging anybody out there, but this is just coming from me. We didn't have hardly any money, but if I was going to start to put bills, you know, different things on credit cards, I'm like, where's this thing going to end? So anytime something came up, I remember my wife's car broke down many years ago at this point. And it was like 255,000 miles on this thing. I mean, it was the end of the road. And we had to decide if we were going to fix that thing or if we were going to finance a car. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. And we ended up fixing that thing. And I absolutely busted my tail for 3 straight months in order to fix it. And that was while I was teaching. And you know, it was a tough time, but I knew that I could control the future of my family by really working hard and doing that. Now, we did a fairly cheap fix, and we started to build up money, and we're able to go out and buy a car with cash. Not a very nice car, but a car with cash. I would drive around little tiny pickup trucks that were falling apart. You know, I've never owned a car in my life with less than 100,000 miles on it. And I know a lot of you are out there that are like that too, or you're doing it the other way around, like, hey, one way to get yourself out of this debt, one way to get yourself out of a hole and get your family going in the right direction, or yourself, is to resell. And I'm here to tell you that if you listen to those other voices, here's NBA Street, not two, this is another one. We had one of these the other day. This one's not the best one. Those sell pretty good, better than these, but these still goes pretty good. I think $12.95 plus shipping. So this is my opinion, but I can just, looking at all these side hustles out there that you hear all these people preach about, there's a couple I think are intriguing. But for me, this is still the best one for a lot of people to get in. If you need to raise, you know, $1,000, $2,000, and you need to do it in, you know, a couple of months, or if you need to start retiring debts and you need to do this and ramp it up, it is still, in my opinion, one of the best side hustles there are out there. And I know a lot of people do it just for those reasons. I'm curious to know if there's any other folks out there who do additional side hustles, or maybe you're watching this looking for a side hustle, I don't know. But when I look at all these other ones, whenever I'm in an Uber or a Lyft or something, I always talk to the people and I start asking questions. And, you know, how much money you're really making? I don't say it like that, but I get to those points. And while there's a lot of great side hustles out there to help people who really want to work for things, they don't want to look for handouts, they want to make something for their family, and they want to do things. They want to go on vacations. They want to make sure they live a debt-free lifestyle. You know, those people, I think this is the haven for it, and it's not getting worse. I know a lot of people think it's getting worse. There are parts of it that are getting worse, but there are so many parts of it that are the best it's ever been, and that's probably not a popular statement with a lot of resellers. But in some ways, this is the golden age. Not quite like 3 years ago when it was just going crazy, or 2 years ago. I guess it was 3 at this point. Not quite like it was 15 years ago when there wasn't, you know, it was the Wild West out there and you could pick up stuff all over the place at thrift stores. Not that kind of golden age, but at least you have more choices now than you've ever had before, and more people are buying online than ever before. I feel like margins are a little bit tighter for some folks than they have been in the past. And, you know, the days of 75% margins are probably gone for a lot of folks. But there are still good margins to be had. There are still good items to be found. There it is. I think this is the last 3 Mustang pins. What are we selling these for? $15 plus shipping? Actually, the pins were $10 plus shipping. But, you know, I know people out there who have taken reselling and it literally has transformed their lives. It gives them pride back. You know, I've also heard other folks say, you know, you are still an employee. It's still a job. You're still tied to eBay. You're completely dependent on eBay and whatever. And I get it, but it is not the same as working for somebody else, especially with these new options that are out there. I think over time that's only going to get better, I hope. Where other options I hear, you know, you hear Dave talking about Mercari's going nuts, and I even heard somebody say they had 12 Bonanza sales the other day. And so there are options, and people are going to continue to buy online. Not even continue, they're going to continue to ramp it up. There's going to be more and more people doing it over time. This is not a dying business at all. This is a growing business. But back to the folks who have really transformed their lives. I know people who were, you know, they're alcoholics. They're drowning their sorrows out there in alcohol and doing this because they just can't get ahead and can't do whatever. And then they stumble across, for some reason, into reselling. And it gives them this sense of meaning and hope, and gives them a chance to dig themselves out. And, you know, people that were, well, I don't want to get into too many details, but there are folks out there who've told me stories about gambling and how they've moved from that to a sure bet, which is reselling, that kind of a story. And look at all the people out there that are retired that tell their stories here. It gives them something that they're not tied down to. They can still enjoy their retirement, and it is fun. It's almost like opportunity cost in reverse. You know, what else would you be doing with your time? And the argument, well, you're only making like $12 an hour or whatever. That's just not true. Most people are doing far, far better than that. It's far better than getting a job at Taco Bell or whatever, in my opinion. Not that that's bad. But it is still one of the best opportunities for people to make money on their own, the way they want to, in a way that they enjoy. Saddest stories I get from time to time are people whose own family members put them down for doing it. In reality, they should be uplifting them and encouraging them in something like this, but some people just don't get it. Whoops. Jeez. I think this is an old QVC style watch. Eclaircie. I don't even know what that is, but it is an interesting one. It's got a couple of scuffs. It probably should have sold for more, but with those couple of scuffs, no battery, we sold it for $20 plus shipping. It got me thinking about different stories, people on social media, because I was reading the ones from viewers that sent me emails, and some of them were awesome, and they were thanking me for all this stuff. And, you know, I've got little to nothing to do with it, but I do appreciate the sentiment. Here's Ken, SSK Promo. Super nice guy. And I remember hearing a story. I think it might have been on Anytime Picker show, I think is where I heard it. But he went through and told the story of him, you know, later in his career, quitting his job or losing his job. I can't remember. Or it was a combination of both. And this was something that he started to do, and it really changed his life. And, you know, he does it with his wife who has a job. And, you know, those are the kind of things, you know, I haven't talked about him in a long time, but Pick and Roll, you might remember me talking about him way back in the day. He's still over there on Instagram. He still posts what he finds. He's in a wheelchair, for goodness sake. And he goes out there and busts his butt every day. And it's something that he can do, and he does it extremely well. You know, how many opportunities are out there for anybody, with just a few bucks to start doing something? This is still an incredible opportunity for most folks. Even Paige, 1 Foot Flipper, if you've seen him, an amputee, he's out there killing it as well. There's so many of these stories that it is just, to me, it's just unforgivable to be somebody who is going to ridicule people who are trying to make a living, not just for themselves, but for their families. And I always fight back with it when I'm online. I'll make comments and stuff like that, because to me, it's a noble thing to do, and we should be proud of it. I want to give a quick thank you to, who am I thanking here? Robert, for buying plans for the Commonwealth Picker shipping table over on CommonwealthPicker.com. And I just saw a super thanks come across in the comments section of one of the videos, and Larry gave me $2. Larry, totally unnecessary. You know, I don't do memberships. I don't ever do lives where we do this, although I do on the podcast, I have to admit. But it's only because Dave and Carrie make me. I don't have a choice. But I just want to take a minute and tell you guys thank you, because not only has this changed my life, you guys have changed my life even more. And those concerns that I used to have, where sometimes it just flat didn't know where the next day's money was going to come from, and me and my wife would absolutely hustle. We would search the house. We would find the best thing we could possibly sell and get that money in so that we knew 5 days later when a bill came due, we'd have that money. And, you know, what kind of opportunities do you have to do stuff like that? I am curious about some side hustles out there. What are the other side hustles you guys do? What are the side hustles that you think are well worth the time and money? And I'm curious to learn some of those down there, because I've already decided if it slows, which I don't think it's going to, y'all. Maybe I'm crazy. You know, eBay's got its issues, but I think this is getting better. If it slows out there, what are some other side hustles that you would do before you went back and got a regular job? And for those of you who have a regular job, maybe there's some other side hustles out there that you do already. Sold a vintage 1997 Redskin shirt right there. That was sold for $15 plus shipping. Let me show you this real quick. Speaking of somebody who never takes negativity from anybody, Flip the World Texas sent me this. Thank you. We appreciate you very much. And he's providing for his massive family. I don't even know how many kids you have. Him and his wife. Just reselling. And that is amazing. And should be applauded. And this one right here, I have no idea why he sent me this. You think I'm really going to eat this? There's no chance. How many of y'all been watching long enough to remember this? Do you remember this right here? I think it went on a chain. I think that came from Matt, I think, Part-Time Pickers. And then I think I sent it to Froggy Flips. Whew, that was not fun. There's no way I'm doing this unless you're offering some kind of charitable thing or something. I don't know. Go check them out. Flip the World, Texas. Sold a small little Rossetti purse, and it went out on a send offer. So it was at our bare minimum $15 plus shipping, but we did a 5% off offer. So $14 and change plus shipping for that purse. Reminds me of a quote I used to use in my coaching days when things weren't always good. It's our duty to be an optimist, because at least then we try. Because it's easy to be a pessimist, but it doesn't lead anywhere. So even when things aren't perfect, it's still good to be optimistic. But I think we have good reason to be optimistic. So maybe we can make a list of our own down below. Why should you sell? Why should you be a reseller in 2024? And I can come up with a ton, and I'm sure you can too. Maybe I should retitle this video "The Most Rewarding Side Hustle in America." I don't know if that's true for all of you, but it sure as heck is for me. Has been for 2 decades. This is volume 2. What do you know? $21.80 plus shipping. All right, y'all. This jacket right here, I think I'm going to be done today. I've got more I got to do, but I don't have to ship anything else out. I just packaged up everything else. And Turner's in there. And I'm going to go spend a little time with him. So here we go. This Dale Earnhardt jacket's got a little pilling up here, but it is pretty darn cool. Paid $10 for it. This one sold for $60. Look at that. That's kind of cool. Plus shipping. By the way, people always ask about this, and maybe I'll get to this question here soon. By the way, thank you for all your questions that you put down below. We're going to make a video about that soon. The bat shipped out all the way to California, I believe, for under $9. We charged $10. This big old thing, this is that cassette rack, $65 plus shipping. We charged $15.99 for shipping, cost $14.43. So we're about break even on that one. Again, thank you for letting me ramble on today. If you haven't figured this out yet, by the way, look at that. Whew. We made some pretty good money today. This wasn't just eBay though. This was this a Dibdit or a whatnot auction? Or a combination. I don't even know at this point. We've been running so much stuff lately, trying to get rid of so much, but we've been doing really well. And I'm super thankful for it. But thank you for letting me ramble on. If you haven't figured it out, you know, I kind of go through these things in my own mind, which is why they end up coming on this show, and you guys put up with me, so I appreciate it. But in all honesty, I just have to say, just in this world, and I was a teacher, and I know I say it all the time, but I am so incredibly blessed. You know, reselling has just given me so much for over 2 decades that I get defensive about it, and I don't want people to get sidetracked because I know how much it offers me. And I'm so appreciative of it in this crazy world that we live in. It's allowed me to do things the way I want to do them. And that was part of the thing with school that frustrated me too. I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'll do it for just a second. I was able to accomplish a lot of things. I taught in a school that was predominantly, well, I'll say it. It was a 50-50 split. Really, really wealthy kids and really, really poor kids. There was very little middle class. And I was able to, for whatever reason, attract both of those segments of the culture, and they all wanted to be in my classroom. And it was, it was an interesting struggle to be able to do that. And I enjoyed the heck out of it. But in order to do it, I had to do it my way. And it was a constant fight to do it my way. And I got frustrated with it because I could see how much success both of those segments of the culture were getting, and what a great experience it was for those kids. And, it frustrated me to no end at the end. But at this point, reselling gave me the opportunity to be able to spend time with my family, with my kids, and to not have the undue influence of everybody around us. And I'm incredibly blessed. And I know a lot of you out there work your tails off for different kinds of reasons, but so many of you do it for your family. And I just love reselling, and I just have to say it all the time. So forgive me about that. And I'm sure Dave and Carrie will tease me for a sentimental video, but thank you to all the folks who send messages too. I spent about an hour reading a bunch of them today, so we appreciate you. I've got gifts to open and all that stuff. Reagan's gone. I should probably do this really quick. A thank you to Jenny for buying a gray shirt, and she got one of the giant In-A-Man stickers. Death Pile Picker got 3. You know what, I'd give them to you. Mike, super nice guy. And Robert, CWP sticker. And that table, he did the table plans too. So appreciate that. Everybody else who's bought stuff out of CommonwealthPicker.com lately, we'll get your thank yous as soon as Reagan gets back. We appreciate all of you, and I can't wait to see you next time.